All right, guys, this is 8.4 factoring polynomials. So you already know how to factor basic polynomials. We've gone over factoring by grouping, by bottoms up. You create your t-chart with your table, A times C and B. What we're going to go over today are factoring the sums and difference of cubes. Now, one thing that you need to be able to do is recognize common cubed numbers. So when a number is cubed, it's just multiplied by itself 3 times. So 2 cubed would be 2 times 2 times 2, which is equal to 8. X cubed is just x times itself 3 times. So what I'm going to go over is I'm going to give you the formulas, which are here. You need to make sure that you write them down. You'll be using them. So the hardest thing that you are going to have to do in this section is just to be able to identify cubed numbers. And you'll be able to use your calculator to kind of figure out if a number is cubed or not. So you have the sum of 2 cubes. So if you have, if you have a number here in the front, which is cubed, and the second number, which is cubed, and a plus in the middle, then it factors like this. You would take this number or letter, okay, this can be a combination of letters or variables, and I'll show you that in a minute, and you just plug them into this formula. Now, what you always want to do is look for your GCF first. Always, 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 in factoring, that's your very first step. The difference of cubes is right here. Okay, make sure that you write these down and you have these available for you throughout this section, actually throughout the rest of the chapter, because we'll be doing a lot of factoring. Now, these are some common sums or difference of cubes. Okay, so always if you see like an x cubed over here, that should kind of give you a heads up that, hey, I need to check my number over here. Is it a cube, yes or no? You should always know that 1 will always be, cubed or to the 4th or whatever. 1 times itself, however many times, will always be 1. Okay, 8 is a common cube number. That's, 2 cubed right there. 27 is a common cube, so that's 3 cubed. 64 is 4 cubed, and 125 is 5 cubed. Okay, that's just what all of these numbers are. Just make sure that you can identify them. So let's get into it. We have this example here, factor x cubed minus 8. So we want to check to see if these are cubes. So the cube root of x cubed is just x, okay? So this is x to the 3rd, and the cube root of 8 is 2 to the 3rd. Okay, so if you want to go back to your formulas, a here would be x, and b here would be 2. And you would just plug them into the formula. So we're using the difference of cubes. How do I know that? Because there's a minus sign right here. And all you're going to do are plug in the values. So that is equal to, the first one will be a minus b, so x minus 2. And then we have a squared plus a times b plus b squared. Okay, so we have x squared plus x times 2 plus 2 squared. Okay, I just plugged them in. Now I'm going to go ahead and simplify them a little bit for you so it makes a little more sense. So the first factor is going to come down, x minus 2. X squared stays x squared. X times 2 is plus 2x, and then 2 squared there is 4. And that's it. That's all you have to do to factor it. So like I said, the hardest part is just identifying what your cube numbers are. I have another example here. X to the 5th minus 125x squared. Remember, your first step is always to check your GCF. So I wrote down the steps over here. I guess 1 should technically be your GCF, right? But write these down if you didn't already. So let's go through this example. Step 1, check for a GCF. Well, I see that both of these here have an x squared term, so I'm going to go ahead and factor that out. If I take out an x squared, I'm left with x cubed minus 125 on the inside. Can I take the square root of this first term? Yes, I can. That's x. Can I take the cube root the cube root of this term is x. The cube root of 125 is 5. Okay, so that's 5 cubed, x cubed. This is the difference of cubes because I have a minus sign here. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that we see here is that you forget about your GCF. Okay, don't forget about that. Make sure that you, bring it back over here. Don't forget about it. And then we're just going to plug in the other numbers. Our first one is a minus b, so we have x minus 5 times a squared plus a times b, so this times this is going to give you 5x, plus our last term squared, so 5 squared is 25. Okay, so if you want to see it written nicely, you have x squared times x minus 5 times x squared plus 5x plus 25. And that's it. We have factored that expression there. All right, I have two more actually for you. We have 8x cubed plus 27. Your first step is to check for a GCF. There is none. So now we're going to check to see if we can cube each of these. This one, you know from the ones that I gave you earlier, the cube root here is going to be 3, so that's 3 squared. We know that the cube root of, 3 cubed. We know that the cube root of x is x, but you have to check this coefficient here. Can we take the cube root of 8? And we actually can. It's 2. So our first term here is actually 2x. That's going to be your value for a, and then 3 is your b. And then once again, you just plug it into your equation. Here we're doing the sum of cubes. Okay, so if you didn't write it down, here is the formula for you down here at the bottom. And all you're going to do is plug it in. We have a plus b, so 2x plus 3 times a squared. So you have 2x quantity squared. It's the whole thing squared. Minus a times b plus b squared. So it's 3 squared. So we're going to have to go ahead and simplify that. 2x plus 3 comes down. 2x squared is 4x squared. Remember, 2x squared is times itself. 2 times 2 is 4x squared. 2x times 3 is minus 6x, and then 3 squared is 9. Okay, that is all we are doing here. I have one more example for you, and then some practice problems. All right, this one we're going to factor here by grouping, and then we're going to check to see if we can factor it further. One thing that you guys do is you'll factor it once, and then you'll leave it as is, and you won't check to see if it can be factored even further, which you need to do and get into the habit of, because once we start the next couple chapters with graphing and finding the zeros and stuff, you need all of the factors. So here, whenever you factor, you always check for the GCF. There is none. When we factor by grouping, we split it up into 2 pieces, factor each section. Here I can take out an x cubed, which leaves me with 1x plus 7. Here they're both negative, so I'm going to take out a negative 8 here, which is going to leave me with positive x plus 7. I check my factors. Those are the same. Pull it out. X plus 7 times x cubed minus 8. This cube should be your red flag. You know right away, okay, is this a sum or difference of cubes, which it is. A is x, b is 2 cubed, okay? So then don't forget about this one, okay? You need to continue to bring it down. So we have x plus 7. This is going to be the difference of cubes. So we have a minus b, x minus 2, okay, times a squared plus ab plus b squared. A squared is x plus a times b plus b squared. Okay, so we have a total of 3 factors here. Okay, can this one here be factored further? No, it can't. Okay, so then there you go. That's all we're doing here for this section. If you have any questions, let me know. Just follow your formulas, guys. I have 2 practice problems that I want you to do and have ready for tomorrow when you walk in class. We'll go over them. Have those ready. If you have any questions, let me know. Shoot me a remind. If not, I'll see you in class.